Hello and welcome to 5-Minute Math. Today we are looking at the Algebra 1 concept of graph transformations. This is standard A.3E in the great state of Texas, and we are using item number 15 off the 2023 released STAAR test. If you haven't done so already, please go ahead and take a moment to pause the video, work this problem out on your own, unpause it, and we will look at our answers together. Alright, so we've got the graph of the function. So here's our parent function there is going to be just that f of x equals x, right? And it's going to be transformed, and take a look at this transformation here. G of x equals 3f of x. So we have a transformation of that. So let's just, you notice on all of these functions right here, right? We've just got that line f going straight through the origin. It's got a slope of 1. That's what we're going to get when we're just dealing with a vanilla f of x equals x. So let's see if we can make ourselves a little graph here, right? So let's just make an x-axis. Let's just make a y-axis. Okay, and what we're going to do is we're just going to draw a line. And we just want it to go straight through the origin. All right, so there we go. Let's get it to go right through there. All right, so that's our line F. Okay, so we want to just label this as our line F. Right, f of x equals x. It's just slope of 1, m equals 1. Very vanilla. So here's the question. What happens when we do this right here? We add that 3. Okay, so this is our parent function. And you've probably laughed at this term before. This is the child function. Well, we're going to transform it. Okay, so when g of x equals, when you've got a multiplier here, a f of x. Okay, so in this case, our a equals 3. What exactly is that going to do? Well, it's going to do a few different things depending on the value of that a. Okay, so if a is greater than 1, then what we're going to have is we are going to have a steeper slope. So if we're thinking of the basic slope-intercept form, that 3 right there, that a, is actually sitting in that m spot, which is the slope. So think of that as our slope modifier. Okay, so if it's greater than 1, it's going to be a steeper slope. Right? If a is greater than 0 but less than 1, so it's a positive number, but it's not quite 1, then it's going to actually have a shallower slope. So it's still going to be positive, but it's going to flatten out a little bit. Right? Now, if a is going to be less than 0 but greater than -1, so it turns into a negative, this is when things start shifting. It's a shallower negative slope. It actually goes the opposite direction. Okay? It starts moving down like this. Then if a is less than -1, you probably guessed it. It's going to be a shallower, actually it's going to be a steeper negative slope. So it gets really, really steep, but it also goes negative. So what do we have here? Well, we have got a is 3. So where does that fit? Well, 3 is greater than 1, which means it's going to be a steeper slope. Which means if that is f, g is most likely going to be, I'm just going to guess something like that. It's still positive, but it's going to be a steeper slope. Right? So do we have anything that matches that? Yeah, look at that D right there. So it's not going to be C, because this is a shallower slope. So C is that shallower slope. So that's not correct. What's happening with A and B is they are actually just adding something to the y-intercept. They're shoving it up and down. That's really not what we're talking about. The one that matches is what we need is D, and that's our answer.